Hello and welcome to some more StarEngine, and today I wanted to talk about some of the changes, deeper explanations and additions that 3.0 has undergone since its scheduling over the last few months, talking about new ships and features and its finishing touches, and that sort of stuff that we've learnt kind of recently and a few other little maybes. So the Delta Patcher, the plan is to have that Delta Patcher released with Alpha 3.0. This would be allow us to have smaller sized updates and hopefully updates more often with hotfixes, mechanics and balance too. If it doesn't come with Alpha 3.0, it should hopefully be coming almost straight away afterwards or near afterwards. Literally, they plan for it to be ready for 3.0. Ships. A whole slew of new ships and vehicles are being added with Alpha 3.0, in addition to the Cutlass Black rework, the Dragonfly, the Constellation Aquila, the Urza Rover and Prospector. We know that the Nox and the Aurora rework will also be in Alpha 3.0, but a few other ships will have been completed before the PTU and live target windows, such as the Razor, the Terrapin, the Cutlass Red, the Cutlass Blue, the Vanguard Harbinger, and the Hull C. So some or all of these could make it into the 3.0 patch, and if not straight away with the 3.0 patch, then because of the Delta Patcher, they could come along very quickly afterwards. And there's even the possibility of some surprises too, of ships they have not yet announced, stuff like that. They do like to throw curveballs occasionally. Persistence. So Persistence is going to be in 3.0, and it's going to kind of be the real first tangible taste of Persistence that we've had in Star Citizen. You'll spawn where you logged out, so you can log in and log out in the same place you spawn. Dying will take you back to the last major area you were in, that respawn zone there, assuming it has one. There will be a logout timer, so you can't log out in combat. Ships will remain persistent damage, but also persistent where they are in the verse for at least some time. Potentially, you might have ships in various locations around Stanton, but damage to your ship, Alpha UEC, your equipment, your loadouts, they're all going to be persistent too, and your ship exploding or you dying could lose you items, especially if like your ship explodes, you lose all the items that's not stock on your ship. Insurance as well can take a while to return your ship or cost you money to return your ship. Common ships are going to be cheap and easy to replace, or have a very quick turnaround. Larger or rarer ships could potentially take a lot longer. So there are important risk rewards going on here. Mortality is now important in the verse. Items and loadouts need to be thought about because they could save your life, and it adds to the tangible gameplay that 3.0 Alpha is bringing. There's also going to be missions around the system to find, like we have currently, like ICC probe type missions and missions that you might just stumble upon. There's going to be loot to salvage, but also there's going to be a couple of more worked on mission givers, more of a theme park experience that have a physical presence. Miles Eckhart and Ruto, and these are going to be making use of subsumption as well. So you're going to be able to see this in the way they talk to you, the way they act, the way they respond to you, the way they maintain eye contact. They're going to have various missions for you based on your reputation, what you've done with them in the past. And Miles Eckhart's character, for example, has been shown off a lot recently, tracking players and commenting when they're nearby. This is all going to add to the immersion of the world and is a good look at what the sort of subsumption NPC kind of player interaction experience of them they want to have. So you're going to be earning Alpha UEC from these missions and exploring and that sort of stuff. And you'll be able to spend that in the new shops, and there's going to be new equipment to buy as well, from ship's weapons to systems for your ships as well. So you're going to be able to upgrade your ships with lots of new items and potentially lose them when they explode as well. The hint system. So as part of the new player experience, they have this added hint system in game that will help with signposting and tell you what to do, and will help guide new and old players around the new persistent universe in Alpha 3.0 and help them understand the systems and interactions that the persistent universe has to offer. There's going to be a lot to go around and see and do and explore in Alpha 3.0, but the procedural planet tech has improved a lot over the last few months, and recently they've improved the look of moon surfaces for 3.0, and we're going to see a lot more content on the planet's surfaces, or moon surfaces in this case. So we've got the surface outposts as well, which they've been polishing and improving, but they're also going to have emergency shelters and drug labs and engineering type areas on planets, mission zones possibly unique kind of styled mission zones that aren't any of those ones we've just discussed. The derelict ship sites, all with the possibilities of loot and missions and Easter eggs and stuff like that to find, and all hopefully with some unique character and should be shareable location-wise. So also we've got Delamar and the Lebski landing zone. They wanted this as a stretch goal, but they decided after they started talking about it that it was very important for Alpha 3.0, and rightly so. It represents a hero landing zone with lots of detail and unique character and potentially a huge amount of gameplay there, and it will be the first real hero landing zone that we've had to explore in the persistent universe. Character customization is going to be something pretty big for Alpha 3.0 as well. For the first time, we're going to be able to customise our character's head, eyes, hair and skin colour. And we should also hopefully have the option of having female characters too, that they've been working on to try and get into Alpha 3.0. There's going to be a range of new weapons and armour for FPS equipment type stuff for Alpha 3.0 as well. That's going to all be purchasable with Alpha UEC in-game that you're going to be earning from those missions and stuff that we talked about earlier. But we've also seen some of the new heavy marine armour, and that heavy marine armour will be making its way into Star Marine as well. So not just as a new purchasable item in Star Citizen, but also in Star Marine as a loadout option. We're going to have the Explorer suit armour as well, and lots of other bits and bobs. Hopefully, like the Explorer suit will have some additional functions for planetary exploration as well. And they've been talking about weapon customization systems recently as well, allowing you to add mods and stuff onto your weapons, which now looks very possible that could make it into Alpha 3.0. And we've got that stamina system as well, and the stamina system is probably massive. A massive change to the FPS stuff. So stamina is going to affect how fast you can move and jump over stuff, and running out of stamina will make your character slower or inaccurate too. This can affect or be affected by your loadout as well. So this should change the run and gun style of gameplay that we have in the first-person shooter style of things at the moment, and it's going to be a lot more thought out and tactical, or at least that's the idea. Players are going to have to decide on what loadout is better for their style and play and situation, might have to use cover a lot more, and will be much more aware of an opponent can't just like run straight at them from across the map unless they're in no armour at all, possibly. Item System 2.0. Now, we talk about Item System 2.0 a lot. It's going to give ships a lot more gameplay. Their systems or their components will now talk and communicate with each other much more freely, and there's a lot more that you can be done with them. There's going to be much more customization and interaction on that level as well. And the new cockpit experience is kind of part of that as well. It's going to give players a lot of individual control over buttons and switches in their cockpits, which are going to affect those systems. And we're going to have our choice with our MFDs, our multifunction displays, what we have on them, how we use them. And that item system and all those new components that are going to be coming online with that as well. We should see a lot more items in the shop, and in fact, obviously, we can buy them now as part of the in the persistent universe. But we're going to have lots more choices, and those choices are going to be significantly better balanced to how your ship and system like works and operates. And when you're around in the verse, like heat will affect your ship as it's kind of supposed to now, with the heat from a weapon travelling to the cooler and then being ejected out of your ship. It should be significantly easier for CIG as well to add new weapons and systems, as well as balance everything as well. And there are going to be various balance changes with weapons and ships and systems as well. The IFCS as well, the flight balance tweaks, they're all going to get some more improvement. In fact, there's some more like physical performance improvement as well they're looking at. They've changed the IFCS to work in batch updates. This is going to improve performance from client and server side as well. And again, things like quantum jump, they've made improvements by simplifying the process. It just now goes, where is this quantum jump going? And that should improve some performance as well. They've also made it look a lot better as well. Item 2.0 is also going to make for a better multi-career experience. But they've also been working on the player-manned turret experience as well. So hopefully turrets will now be competitive in the persistent universe when you're flying a multi-crew ship. It should be a lot better choice to have people in those turrets, as before the manned turret experience was hard to hit in at best. AI turrets as well, they are adding the ability for AI to operate turrets in Crusader, so this could be like defense turrets and that sort of stuff, protecting landing zones, and should allow for some interesting gameplay as well. The way we interact with the world will have improved somewhat as well, with evolutions of the item system and the inner thought systems, allowing us for a lot more interaction interaction. And a lot of that interaction can also be done with the Mobi Gloves. So the Mobi Gloves has received this huge overhaul and is getting lots of apps and function too, displaying stats, statuses, lots of apps for customizing your character and ship, having much more in-depth quest logs. It's lore and UI brought together, and it's going to have that interactive ship or star map as well, so you can set quantum destinations and travel to those locations as well for much better travelling experience around the systems. And for those of you needing a wider FOV, Alpha 3.0 will come with an FOV slider, so you can change your field of view somewhat. I know that was wanted for a long time. The air traffic control system. So they have this air traffic control system now as well, which is responsible for spawning and despawning your ships and vehicles as well. And in conjunction with a comms system, so literally you can radio to a landing zone and say, I want to land there, and it's going to manage where you land, take off, and where your ships spawn and despawn from. It's very good. Nice simple system. Cargo and commodities. We are going to be able to purchase cargo and commodities from stations and landing zones. Piracy is going to be a much bigger thing with NPCs and players as well. And we're able to sell the commodities or stuff in our cargo bay to different stations. So we can pick up boxes and secure them in our cargo hold, or even vehicles as well now. The Nox, the Dragonfly, and the Ursa Rover, with cargo areas with enough size, you'll be able to store them. So this is all going to be handled by a grid system, where commodities will manifest as stacks of crates located in your ship's hold, limited by the capacity of the grid that your ship can use based on the size of that hold. So boxes that you find would take up some of that grid space. Stowing a vehicle there would take up some of that grid space, and that grid space could potentially be seen as alpha UEC that you could make from literally buying and selling commodities, which will be different values over the verse. And I think that might even apply to weapons and equipment as well. You might be able to buy and sell them. Star Marine and Arena Commander are not left out either. Star Marine will get these updates, giving more armor, weapons, weapon options as well, tweaks to its levels, but also the important stamina system, which is going to change the whole flow of the game. Arena Commander is going to be getting those new ships as well. Changes to the IFCS is going to give it a load of different flow. Hopefully, both of them will be getting lots of performance improvements as well. But there's going to be map improvements to Arena Commander as well. The new asteroid tech is in there. They've got new weapons, systems, and customization for your ships as well, and all that gameplay that the item system 2.0 brings. There should be a good few other cool things to find in space, both visually, but also for missions and cool set pieces and that sort of stuff to find. And expect Easter eggs like we had with the Benny's Henge, but probably more complex. They did talk about like a drug slab and stuff to find. Engine trails and like contrails and stuff like that. We've seen lots of pretty stuff. We've seen lots of graphical improvement and optimizations over the UTVs over the last few weeks, but they're also adding those engine trails into. Hopefully people will find them a bit easier to track other ships in combat now. Some players might not enjoy them, but we'll have to wait and see exactly how it looks. And in general, there are going to be loads of improvements to the network code and resource improvement. So hopefully we should start to see higher frame rates in the persistent universe, and potentially soon after 3.0's release, more people in a single shard of the persistent universe. To meet target deadlines, for the first Eva Carty build might not have all of the features of the wider PTU and live builds, so keep that in mind. They are still working on some blockers and polish for certain tasks, but expect to see lots of tangible gameplay and quite a lot to do when Alpha 3.0 comes out. Though in the PTU, do expect bugs, and if you're an Eva Carty tester, expect more bugs. Every month we give away a ship. For July, it's a Nox Q, and you can fly around in the persistent universe when 3.0 comes out. All you need to do is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and comment on any of my Star Citizen videos during that month. If you've got any questions about Alpha 3.0 or questions for me in general, or Star Citizen's development in general, please drop them below. A special thank you to my Patreons who allow me to create the amount of content I do. If you're interested in becoming one, you can find the links to Patreon as well as everything else we've discussed below. I have got a really bad cold. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the verse.